VP. Welcome to the show. This is your UFC prediction for the weekend card. And the first fight we have Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. This fight is a big caliber fight in the lightweight division. Kulingana na vile performance imekuwa, ili after ameperform alikuwa na low issue and with his wife. So the belt was going to keep the division on hold. So ndo maana interim belt ikaletwa. Justin Gaethje really deserved the fight because after ile fight ya BMF, of course yeye ndo alikuwa to the next in line, but hiyo kufanyika unaona stocks zake zikarudi chini na ikabidi amerudishwa nyuma. Alafu the thing inafanya ili apewe the title fight ni the animosity wako nayo na Ilya. So of course the UFC is a business company and they always want to make the biggest fights possible for themselves. So the Paddy Pimblett fight inakuwa to pushed a lot to the Ilya, but angeruka the Justin Gaethje fight. So the interim belt ikakuwa tu ni formed, which is so good for them. Justin Gaethje is so good on the kicks. His stand-up yake na kongani sawa is one of the best finishers you've ever seen in the business. A big fighter, of course, na amekuwa in the top lightweight division in the top for a while now, and he's been ruling this division. He's been the former interim champ. He's gotten the BMF belt, so he's had a pretty successful UFC career. And on the other hand, Paddy Pimblett came from Cage Warriors, big champion from there. Amekuwa akipewa caliber fights, amepigana na watu kama Bobby Green, Tony Ferguson. The last one ilikuwa Michael Chandler, which imempatia interim title shot. He's a big grappler. The grappling department he does so well. The triangular type, the submission, anakonga ni king wa submission. So the only way I think this fight is going to go is Paddy akose tu kusimama pale to ban with Justin Gaethje, because Dustin Poirier tried that and the head kick came, because head kicks za Justin Poirier ni vitu za Justin Gaethje ni vitu zingine unapoangalia huwa anarusha head kicks zingine zenye hata huwezi ona, because anakonga dile kama hatari sana. Wrestling yake pia anakonga kwa wrestling background. You can't say that his wrestling is so poor. So Justin Gaethje brings every possible threat to this fight. Big matchup for them. I'm not going to lean towards the prediction of this fight a lot because I like Justin Gaethje a lot, but the odds are favoring Paddy Pimblett. Nikiangalia kwa odds zetu, Justin Gaethje amepewa 2.85, nikiangalia kwa Paddy Pimblett amepewa 1.41. Naona hiyo ni Paddy Pimblett amekuwa tu ni favorite hapo rahisi. The one you choose, but I would advise for this fight, for me kwa sababu sasa mimi ni fan wa Justin Gaethje na Paddy na stabet sana, but if ni kubet unaweza patia Paddy Pimblett, akona high chances of winning this interim belt, and maybe later in the year ama katikati ya mwaka hapo ataweza kupigana na Ilya Topuria. So the choice for this fight is going to be Paddy Pimblett. The next fight itakuwa ni the co-main event. We have Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong. Sean O'Malley is a sniper. He's a big striker, and unlike Song Yadong, who is a good striker, but he comes to live with his body a lot. He's a striker who comes forward while fighting. And on the other hand, ukiangalia pia the jiu-jitsu side, Song Yadong amekuwa ameimprove sana, but huwa ana struggle sana na world class fighters. Ukiangalia pia performance zake zimekuwa cause amelost kwa mse kama Peter Yan. Na Peter Yan, Sean O'Malley aliweza kumpiga. So unaona hiyo ni difference sana. Sean O'Malley actually kuenda na Peter Yan 3 rounds, na hiyo time vile ilikuwa because it was a difficult time for him, and kuenda 3 rounds with Peter Yan ilikuwa ni big deal for him, and anajua kuna confidence nyingine iko crazy sana, which hata akashinda hii fight anaweza pewa hata maybe title shot nyingine. So unajua tu O'Malley, but this fight niko sure itakuwa ni striker versus striker match, which is going to be so entertaining, but I think the more sharper striker is going to get it done in Sean O'Malley, because Sean O'Malley throws those sneaky knees in between ukikam in, and inaweza pata Song Yadong because huwa na come forward kama analin sana, which itakuwa ni fit. Lakini ukiangalia kwa hii bantamweight division mtu mwenye anaweza shake up huko juu kiasi, Sean O'Malley pia with the long range ako nayo, the boxing of course pia kicks zake, wrestling department amekuwa ameimprove since alikuwa ana fight na Merab the 2 fights. So I know wrestling yake improve a lot, but big fight, we'll see how it goes, but Sean O'Malley for the win this weekend. The next fight in the card, we have Waldo Costa versus Derek Lewis. These are big heavy hitters in the heavyweight division. Derek Lewis holds the most knockouts in UFC history. Waldo Costa pia kona right ingine akirushanga mtu wangu inakonga tu ni dead hapo na hapo. Anarushanga double jab na with the right hand. So in this fight, it's all about who lands the jab, who lands the right hand first, because both of them have knockout power, and the knockout power kwa hii fight ndio itakuwa ni kitu ina determine. Alafu this is heavyweight, man. Heavyweight, you can get caught with everything and you just fall. And for this fight, having both strikers and both heavy hitters, I'll lean among the younger guy to get it done in Waldo Costa. I like Derek Lewis a lot. But I'll take Waldo Costa because if chances of making to fight Tom Aspinall, and we need some new blood in the heavyweight division. So give me Waldo Costa by a knockout. The next fight, we have Arnold Allen versus Gene Silva. Gene the Lord Silva, the last fight alipewa ilikuwa big caliber fight for him versus Diego Lopez, and ni kama ilikuwa ni title shot fight because Diego Lopez after hapo aliweza tu kupewa title shot versus Volkanovski, which was so big for him, and I think the only thing ilifanya lose the fight, akuwa more technical sana, alikuwa relentless sana, the game iliingia kwa kichwa yake, but I think right now mentally he's doing okay. And I think he's a good fighter by the way. Ni vile wana get to reckless ukakiwa huko ndani ya cage, but he's a fighter who you can count on. On the other side, Arnold Allen is a traditional way kind of fighter. The fighter who mwenyewe anafuata everything mwenye coach anamwambia, but he has no elite mat control, and I think that will be a big difference. The big difference between Diego Lopez and Arnold in this fight, Diego Lopez's jiu-jitsu is so good and he could control Gene Silva from the ground, and Gene Silva alikuwa anapigwa na ground and pound, which ilifanya apate hizo nini zote. Lakini ukiangalia Andolene, match control yake inakuanga iko chini sana, iko top sana vile unaweza sema kama Diego Lopez, na hiyo ita make a big difference sana, because Gene Silva is an explosive fighter. Is that fighter who comes forward a lot, he has a lot of power, he's aggressive, so kama utashinda kumweka chini utaforesee fight kwenye stand up fight, na ikikuwa stand up fight akona chances za kushinda pia. Arnold Allen is a legend of course. In the Dan Hooker fight, that was the fight zenye niliona ameweza knockout msee clean. Amekuwa in a wars of course, even with Movsa aliweza kulose, even with Max Holloway aliweza kulose, akateka long layoff. Now that long layoff I think itakuwa with a big factor in this fight, because Gene Silva has been one of the active fighters in the UFC the last year, na kwa hii bado ameamka ni January, bado wako still active, so give me Gene Silva via submission or knockout. The next fight we have Natalie Silva versus Rose Namajunas. Natalie Silva, I like that girl, man. Kicks zake zinakuanga ni top sana, and I think she's the best in the division nyuma ya Valentina Shevchenko. That's why I'm so confident that I win a fight. Rose Namajunas, former champ of course, but in the division lower division, but after amekuja hapa amekuwa kijaribu the last fight versus Maverick, it was good fight. It's a fighter who mwenye ukitaka kwenda decision atakupeleka decision vizuri, which sometimes you like that kind of fighters who mwenye atachukua point, which I think this fight is going to the decision. You know why? Natalie Silva is that fighter who picks up kicks, ana win rounds, ana win exchanges. Ukimchapa moja atakikisha amekuchapa zingine mbili, so unaona hapo ana win points, and I think in this fight itakuwa tu ni points watu watakuwa wanajaribu kushinda, because Natalie Silva can't say that kind of finisher sana. Rose Namajunas pia amekaa kabla finish mse, but she's a big finisher. But in this fight, the one mwenye atakuwa na land the big moments, which I think is Natalie Silva, is going to get it on the scorecards, which is going to be big. The first round maybe anaweza ushinda, the second round Rose ashinda, but the third I think Natalie Silva is going to get it and call for the title, because this fight is going to be the next for the title shot. So in the women's division, hii fight itakuwa ni kubwa sana, which is the only fight in the UFC 324 yenye ni madem, so hii itakuwa ni fight kubwa sana kwa division. Pia Valentina anahitaji some new blood kubishana naye pale, so Natalie Silva I think to get the job done in this fight easy. The next fight we have Umar Nurmagomedov versus Davison Figueiredo. Figi amekuwa in a while as a former champ, but I think this is too much to swallow. Umar is in his in his prime right now manze, alipigana na Merabi in his prime and ako lose in a bad decision way. The last fight of course aliweza kushinda, but ukiangalia Davison amelose kwa mse kama Corey, amelose kwa Yan, and these guys are elite, so unaweza sema ana struggle sana akifight na wase elite. And like Omar the last fight alipewa Young Mario Bautista, which Mario Bautista is a very good fighter and alihandle the business vizuri. If you give me Mario Bautista versus Davison Figueroa, I'll still take Bautista. That's how good Umar is, and I think in this fight the Dagestani wrestling style itakuwa ni too much for Figi, who is good jiu-jitsu, anapenda kuscramble a lot. But in this fight I think itakuwa tu ni a lot. Umar is the faster fighter, he's the one who's closer to the belt, bado ni the younger fighter, so akona advantages mingi sana. So give me Umar na Magomedov in this fight to beat Davison Figueredo. On the other fighter we have Atemba Gautier versus Andre Pulev. Atema, man, he's been knocking these guys out ever since he stepped foot in the UFC. Since the Contender Series amekuwa, he's a good striker. He throws bombs every time he fights, and close distance inakonga hivyo tu sana. Ni top striker mwenye actually wrestling yake jakuwa tested, and I don't think Pulev is the one who's going to test his wrestling in this fight. A big matchup for both of them, but manze, the only way Pulev is going to win this fight, keep distance vizuri, movement yake ikuwe ni around, of course movement yake akiweza kuzunguka around the cage a lot, that will be so big for him, and big matchup. But I think Ateba Gautier is going to get it done, and even maybe in the first round or second round, because this guy has a lot of power, and the power ako nayo si middleweight wengi na wakishi. Na ujue middleweight ukiweza kunokiwa na one punch, you can imagine the power that this guy has. Big fighter, and ni prospect actually kwa hii mwaka. I think no maana na push hivyo bado na UFC, but I expect Atemba Gautier to win by knockout. Next fight we have Nikita Krylov versus Modestas Bukauskas. Nikita is a vet, akona record ya 30-11, so that's a stretched record. And on the other hand, Nikita Modestas 2.0 has been really good since I come back to the UFC. Has been on a good tear. Speed yake iko pale, akona athletic, straight punches zake zimekuwa on point. Amekuwa actually na knockout these guys out in the lightweight division, which is so good to him. And I'm so confident in this fight he will beat Nikita Krylov too, because I think Nikita is past his prime. The last time alikuwa ni top 10 heavyweight ilikuwa before get knocked out by Reyes, and he's got beaten by Reyes, Dominic Reyes, amepigwa bado na Bogdan Guskov, and I think sasa hivi le Modestas na hii momentum yenye ako nayo, the like of off timing yenye nakonga na Nikita Krylov itakuwa ni big difference sana kwa hii fight. Na hii fight actually Modestas Bukauskas anaweza piga save ya knockout, because Nikita has no shin at the moment. Timing yake pia kama vile nimesema iko chini sana, and I don't think ataweza ku stand up na Nikita sasa hivi vile ako. Nikita sasa hivi ako tu chini sana, and Modestas is so crafty, ako na speed and he has power, and knock out some guys in the heavyweight division. So I know that in this fight anaweza pull that power. Give me Modestas via knockout. The next fight is Alex Perez versus Charles Johnson. Energy Johnson, the prospect killer, manze, big boxing, anakwanga na boxing iko top sana ukiangalia kwa fights zake. But on the other hand, ukiangalia mtu kama Alex Perez well rounded MMA fighter, wrestling top, ukiangalia grappling yake top, takedowns zake zinakuwa ni top. I think inaweza kuwa ni issue sana kwa Energy, because Energy akipata nule mtu wa kusimama na brawl na yeye, huwa anakuwa successful sana cause mkono wako sawa. Lakini department zingine cause ni MMA, grappling uko sawa, ukikamko submit uko sawa, bado sijacheck hizo sana ukisema na Charles Johnson, but the all-rounded Alex Perez MMA inaweza kuwa ndo a big factor kwa hii fight. Actually hiyo ndo kitu anaweza tumia juu akisimama amwe ku stand bang na Charles Johnson will knock this guy out, because he's so young but this guy is so fast. Akifight kwa back foot is those flyweights mwenye kwa back foot, he fights so well on the back foot, and not many flyweights can say that, because the flyweights are so weight yao inakuwa chini and they are so fast, they are so crafty, and in a division like that, Charles Johnson being 35 and still hanging in there with the top dogs, because he's beat guys like Joshua Varner, the last fight akapiga Kavanagh, and those are top prospects I'm talking about. And I think Alex Perez being for the fight game for a while, and Charles Johnson still hanging around with these prospects. Give me Charles Johnson to win this fight via decision or via knockout. Next fight, we have the veteran Michael Johnson versus Alexander Hernandez. Alexander Hernandez is a violent fighter. He likes violence a lot, and of course, Michael Johnson, you know, when it's time to brawl, it's time to brawl. He never shies away from anything. It's been on a good run lately. He's on a 3-fight win streak, which is so good for him. Imeweza kumlanda this big fight. Kama ile fight yake ya Zelhuba, hata kuna mtu alikuwa anajitenda hivyo. Ilikuwa ni fiti sana. The last fight akashinda pia via knockout. So these guys are still on top of his game. But in this fight, expect violence in this fight because Hernandez likes to stand up and bang. And I think the last fights zenye Hernandez amekuwa na watu wenye sana wa bang na but Michael Johnson is not going to shy away from that. If you start banging with him, he likes it a lot and he's going to bang back, which this is going to make it an interesting fight, of course, for the lightweight division. Na hii ni jina mzuri sana yenye Hernandez amepewa. Akapiga mtu kama Michael Johnson, hata kama ni end of his career, Michael Johnson is still a dog, man, because akona 3-fight win streak with the top in the divisions, man. And pia nani akona 3-fight win streak, but it's all about who wants it now. And I think Alexander Hernandez at the moment is on a good tier right now. Ukiangalia fight ingine via knockout pia. So in this fight, I'm going to take Alexander Hernandez to win this fight via decision or a knockout, because this fight itakuwa ni violence. So knockout, usione knockout hizi kama inaweza kuja vizuri sana. The next fight we have Josh Hockett versus Denzel Freeman. Josh Hockett is the Freeman had the ugliest debut you can ever wish for. Of course, hakuna kitu alifanya kwa hiyo fight. The last guy actually get cut off after hiyo fight could happen. So that's how bad it was. And amepewa another chance, of course, versus the talkative Josh Hockett. A little big for him to swallow, I don't know, but ukiangalia all-rounded, Freeman is supposed to be the bigger grappler, the heavier guy, the heavier who's mwenye anaweza kuwa na shin strong, but ukiangalia mtu kama Hockett na wrestling background, na ukiwa na wrestling background kwa MMA, that's all you actually need. So this akiweza tu kufanya huyu msee asiweze kumtake down, keep the fight standing, of course, because Hockett is legit, his wrestling is legit, akona match control iko poa pia, and ukiwa na hizo vitu tatu kwa heavyweight division hakuna vitu zingine una need. So I won't talk a lot about this fight. Give me Josh Hockett to win this fight. Thank you for watching. Imekuwa ni a nice one, and the last fight itakuwa ni Ricky Tushas versus Cameron Smatherman. Cameron Smatherman, the last fight alifight versus Ricky Simon, which ilinionyesha ni sana cause Ricky Simon bado ana knock these guys out, and wachani vile Smatherman alikuwa na ile uoga ndani. I think sahi amepewa fighter mwenye hata ogopa sana, fighter mwenye wakamwa ni kwenda ku stand and bang, watafanya hivyo, but I think the last fight ndio ilifanya kaini muoga, but with the way Ricky Tushas, the last fight Ali win was in 2022. He has a high pace, which I think that high pace is going to mess up with his cardio, because Smatherman is that fighter who's so legit. Not a lot of pressure, but technical sana. And I think your technicality itasaidia sana, because mtu akona high pressure, wewe akikuja uona mwanisha tu umetulia mpaka anashinda huarada ni gani. So naona hiyo itafanya mpaka iweze kushinda. And akona power, na akona aggressive, na akona knockout power. Kwa hivyo kama akona knockout power, naona kama na high pace, he can come in and run into a big right hand, run into a knee, and that fight will just be over just like that. So in this fight, give me Cameron Smatherman via knockout. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to this. See you in the next episode. Thank you.